She stood alone long before anyone noticed her strength. Her name was Nora, and for most of her life she felt invisible in rooms full of people, unheard in conversations and overlooked in moments that mattered. She was not loud, she did not demand attention, she carried her struggles quietly, believing that being strong meant standing alone. Nora grew up learning that dependence led to disappointment. She watched promises break and people leave, and slowly she built walls around her heart, not to shut the world out but to protect herself. She became self-sufficient, careful and guarded. She learned to rely on her own hands, her own mind and her own courage. At school she was the one who worked hardest but received the least recognition. At work she was dependable but rarely appreciated. In relationships she gave more than she received. She learned to stand alone even when surrounded by others because loneliness felt safer than betrayal. Life tested Nora repeatedly. She faced rejection when she pursued opportunities she deserved. She was doubted when she spoke her truth and dismissed when she asked for fairness. Each time she stood up for herself, she found herself standing alone, facing judgment, silence, and resistance. Her hardest moment came when she chose integrity over acceptance. She refused to compromise her values even when it cost her friendships, career, stability, and approval. People walked away shaking their heads, telling her she was making a mistake, that she would regret choosing the harder path. There were nights when Nora questioned everything. She wondered if standing alone was bravery or foolishness. She felt the weight of isolation pressing against her chest, and for the first time she considered giving in just to belong, just to feel supported. But something inside her refused to surrender. She realized that winning was not about applause or agreement, it was about self-respect. She understood that standing alone with truth was better than standing with lies. One afternoon she witnessed something that changed her forever. A teacher unfairly accused a quiet boy of cheating, humiliating him in front of the entire class. Lila knew the accusation was wrong. She had been sitting right next to him. She had seen everything. Her heart pounded as she raised her hand. The room fell silent. The teacher looked at her with surprise and irritation. "Are you sure?" he asked. Lila nodded, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Yes, I saw everything. He did nothing wrong." The teacher dismissed her words, waved them away as if they meant nothing. The class laughed. The boy lowered his head in shame, and something inside Lila cracked. She had done what she was taught to do. She had spoken calmly, respectfully, truthfully, and still she was ignored. That day she learned that silence was not the only thing used to control people. Dismissal could be just as powerful. That night Lila could not sleep. Her thoughts raced, her chest felt tight. She realized that staying quiet had never truly protected her, it had only erased her. Slowly, piece by piece, she thought about her mother who had accepted a life of endurance. She thought about the boy whose truth was ignored. She thought about all the times she had stayed silent when her voice might have mattered. The next weeks were difficult. Lila began to notice how often people tried to silence her, not always with words but with looks, with laughter, with indifference. When she asked questions she was told not to overthink. When she shared ideas she was told to wait her turn, a turn that never came. It was clear to her now that the world preferred her quiet. Rosa Parks passed away in 2005, but her act of bravery still sits powerfully in the heart of America. She taught the world that sometimes the most powerful protest is not loud or violent. Sometimes it is as simple as staying seated when everyone expects you to stand. She showed that one quiet voice can shake a nation and one brave woman can help change the world.